Hey everyone, pre-market prep time, story trading VIPs. This is an unlisted video for the benefit of VIP members. It'll be posted later on to social media. All right, so let's take a look. We had a great day yesterday, man. Almost everything we talked about in the morning yesterday completely blew up. So awesome day for story trading. We start by looking at the indices. So QQQ, now if you remember, back here when it broke the 200 moving average 1 minute trend line, I'd, for the first time since the Fed raised interest rates, I'd stepped into a little PSQ because that was actually the first time it broke below that trend line. But the next morning, when it went back above that trend, I closed it out right away. So I'm no longer short this market. I'm not going to fight it. Look, we're still between the 50 and the 200 DMA. So that's 369 on the Qs is a potential target. I know it's like crazy, but you got to respect the technicals. And the RSI is not even like oversold yet. Look, it's all the way down here at 58, and you can see tends to get into the 70s before it gets oversold. So a move to 369 still very much in the cards. And SPY is back above the 200 DMA. Now, guys, remember what I talked about now 3-4 weeks ago, right after war started. We had our macro theses out there, right? How could this not? We talked about the bear case and the bull case, and one of the bull cases was, and I've said this many times, I'll say it again. Just like at the bottom of the COVID, the technology internet stocks took us out of it. Perhaps this war will cause the new fangs to take us out of it, right? Fuel, agriculture, aerospace, nuclear, gold, and minerals. Okay, so and you gotta look when we talk about inflation and hey, where's all this money going to? Everything's getting more expensive. That money's not disappearing; it's just going to different pockets, right? That money's going into the agriculture sector. This is one of the reasons the agriculture sectors are so hot, and I think it's going to go in a long. This is a long mega trend that's going to last quarters, which is why we've been so bullish on agriculture stocks. Okay, so you got to think about that scenario, and also think about, hey, S&P 500, they're constantly changing, and the Dow Jones, they're constantly changing what goes in there, right? So you can maybe see more weight on these new FANG stocks in order to kind of manipulate the indices so that they'll keep going up. I'm not saying that's where we are, but technically, if you want to understand how is this possible, we talked about how it's oversold and you can get a short squeeze because it was oversold, but fundamentally, what could be the reason why this is not all retail. Why would funds be putting money to work? Could be because of what I'm saying, because the money is flowing to these new sectors. The whole theme on divest from Russia, even China, right? There's going to be more independence in America and manufacturing. Lots of positive things could happen, but I am very bearish consumer discretionary, right? I've been saying for a long time I want to short Apple, but not yet. Maybe going into the earnings report. I mean, this chart is just off the hook. The RSI not overbought yet. Very easily, you can see this hitting new highs, and they've been pulling a lot of levers recently to improve their profitability, which to me is might like that short term. I think you lost me for a second. Yeah, they've been pulling a lot of levers to improve their profitability. No chargers, no headphones in their new iPhone sales, hardware subscription. They want to do. So they have a lot of levers to pull to try to make money, but I think consumer discretionary is in trouble when all of our dollars are going to energy and food. That's what I think. Okay, so but technically you can't deny this over here, and you could easily see Apple hitting a new high. You could see QQQ easily hitting the 200 DMA, and I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going back short again unless trends break. So the gold we talked about. We predicted this break over here of the 20 DMA using a story trading method because we're not only looking at technicals, we're looking at sentiment and fundamentals. I'm not going to go through the whole thesis again, but I got in before the break. I'm still in. It's still holding that key support of 182. If it breaks down below 182, maybe you got to reassess what's going on. Did we get the fundamental thesis wrong, or did something with the sentiment change that is breaking below 182? And you'd like to front run that if you can, right? By following the right Twitter accounts, by being plugged into the news, you could maybe see something coming that would cause it to break support. I don't see any of that yet. I think this is bullish for the near term. So that's gold. Wheat holding its gains, and this is what's driving the whole ag sector. And if you look at a couple of the ag stocks here, You'll see Deere, although the volume is not really significant, but we'll be watching. Deere is the blue chip in the ag sector. Arcadia as the risk asset in the ag sector. The fertilizer stocks continuing to do well in pre-market. Mosaic and IPI. Arcadia, we talked about yesterday that this may be the better play over RW, and I guess we were right about that, although they both worked yesterday. But Arcadia, I guess, has earnings next week. Man, there's a why not in our group who's very bullish on Arcadia. Maybe we'll dig deeper into it. The bullish on the fundamentals. Maybe we'll dig deeper into it Sunday night, possibly. I'm not chasing it over here. We are looking at other microcap ag stocks that maybe didn't run yet, and we'll talk about a couple of them a little further down in a second. You can see oil is pulling back a little bit, still holding most of its gains, still above the 20 DMA, but natural gas on a tear. It's just like exploding every day. So net between oil and natural gas, you can see XLE seems more sensitive to oil rather than natural gas. It's down 0.5% today, but still above the 20 DMA. KMI, which is one I've been playing, I'm heavy in call options near term, some that expire today, some in the next few months. Some of those are profitable today. I still have some 1850 calls, which I may lose money on, but net has been a good trade. But KMI, I think, is doing well because it's more closely associated with natural gas, which has been really good. So I had a great day yesterday, a nice pre-market. I got to look at the, I don't have time, but the dark pool, there was some interesting activity in after hours yesterday, big
candles. There may be more some dark pool trades there. So as we're following energy, we're also looking at Tesla because that's a sentiment tailwind for Tesla. You can argue about the fundamentals longer term, but short term, the sentiment, people are speculating this is good for EVs. So that's Tesla, and any kind of EV related stocks like lithium, et cetera, should have a tailwind today as long as Tesla stays green, in my opinion. When energy goes up, we're looking at uranium. So CCJ kind of stalled over here. So you can look at all your uranium stocks and follow the news to see if there's any triggers that would cause the next leg up. And that's DNN as a uranium stock. And there's your lithium trade of the week idea. CLF, lithium's killing it as for trade of the week. CLF, we have to see who's winning this competition. It's either going to be CLF or CLF, which was, again, I forget who posted that trade idea, but someone from our community. JP Morgan came in with a huge price target increase, and we gave it to you early in the morning yesterday, and it took off. So that was great. I added it early in the morning yesterday to my IRA, actually, and it's done really well. TWI. All right, now let's get into some specific stocks maybe for today. TWI is an ag stock that we've had on our list. A list originally gave us to us by Sanjay, then Why Not went in, and he took out the best ones. Also, I kind of pruned that a little bit, took out the best ones, and there was some consensus that TWI is one of the best ones, at least fundamentally, out of those ag stocks that we had. And yesterday, they just announced a $400 million contract over 3 years. It's depending at current commodity prices, right? 400 million over 3 years. So this one, very interesting. To me, that contract seems very significant compared to its market cap of 938 million. And of course, we know we're in this agriculture sentiment tailwind that we have, this megatrend going. So I would not be surprised if TWI took off today, okay? You make your own decisions. I'm not telling you whether to buy it or not. I added more last night on this news, but I would not be surprised to see this spike up early in the morning and hold its gain on that big deal. However, you may want to look into the terms of that press release, that contract a little bit more to make your own decision on that. We gave you Kodak as a bonus yesterday, right? Kodak, not typically kind of stock I would invest in or trade, right? Kodak ended up doing well as a bonus stock for you yesterday. And the reason I gave it to you was because not only did it break over the 200 DMA, but also there's 2.7 million shares insider buy. In fact, this huge candle right here was because insider buying wasn't retail. Okay, so that was very interesting. Something may be going on here. This is one Rex has been saying technically is ready to take off. So I had it on my radar, and when the catalyst hit with that insider buy and the technicals breaking the 200 DMA, that's when I got in. And we'll continue watching that. 11% short. So that's a trade for me. Tilray, another one that was on Rex's watch list. He was looking at Tilray and the entire cannabis sector, something that's going to blow up soon, okay, based on technicals. Now, I don't get in on anything based on technicals alone. I'm looking at the big picture. I'm looking at the 4-story trading pillars, sentiment, catalysts, everything, right? So I had this on my radar, and then there was news yesterday. There's going to be some sort of House on the vote on the House floor Monday. Now, something you got to realize is it doesn't matter if that vote is fundamentally impactful to the company in order for the stock to take off, because technically it was ready. It was already ready. It was already moving. Don't forget the context we're in. There's a market-wide short squeeze going on. And don't forget, GameStop and AMC have been squeezed. So there's money coming in. There are buyers out there who see value in these names, right? As gleaned, as you can inference from the chart, the bottoming of the charts, and they're starting to squeeze. It means other people find value in these names. So they're just waiting for a trigger for it to squeeze up. And that's what we got. That trigger was that news that came out yesterday, and all the cannabis stocks took off. Tilray probably the most. But now look what you have. It broke above the 50 DMA. And you know me, I use 20, 50, 200. I rely on very heavily. I look, if there's key resistance levels in between, I look at it. And there is one here at $8. So $8 is a key resistance level for Tilray. You can see it right here very clearly, right? You can see that resistance up there at $8 or so. But it's above $8 in pre-market. And I think this thing, look at that clear resistance at $10 and the 200 DMA at 1050, so 1060. So I think this thing, I made a prediction yesterday when the stock was like, I got in at 635. It was like closing near 7. And I'm like, this is hitting 8s tomorrow and 10s on Monday. That was my prediction. But if it stays above 8, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that it can hit 10 or 990s today, okay? Now, I'm not advocating this as an investment. I don't know the cannabis sector very well. I don't know the fundamentals very well. But when you put together all of the pillars and you consider it, I'm assuming the fundamentals are not great simply because that, right? Without knowing anything, you look at that. So I'm assuming, I could be wrong. Maybe the fundamentals are great, but because I don't have time to research it, I will not be holding past this 200 DMA. Okay. And I'll probably be selling on the way up as it gets there. So that's Tilray. Another one you can look at, Canopy Growth. I've heard a lot of talk about this as a market leader. This one, a little more interesting possibly, because the space between the 50 and the 200 much larger, right? You have $13 here instead of 10. Okay. So that's all I'll say there. In case you're familiar with CGC, let's look at the RSI is 67 on that one, and Tilray, the RSI 74. So on both counts, CGC is not as overbought yet this morning as Tilray, and it has much more room to the upside, the 200 DMA at 13 or so. So that's something to watch. Now, if you're into the cannabis stocks, people have been throwing me different names on Twitter. LFLY, I know nothing about it. You can look at it if you want. Apparently, it's a low float D-SPAC. I'll talk about AGFI in just a second. Then there was another GRWG. There's SFET. These are all stocks. If you're interested in GRWG, actually seemed interesting. I forgot what I'd found interesting about it. Oh, yeah, it has a PE. Something may be going on. You may want to look at GRWG. If you guys look at it, let me know if it's good. All right, going back here, I want to show you AGFI. AGFI is very interesting because this used to be like a growth stock. It went to like $1 billion market cap. And fundamentally on the surface, it's actually, it got cut off. Fundamentally on the surface, it's actually like the cheapest growth stock out there in terms of the EV to revenue ratio. But it got killed. I think there's some concern about, there's some lawsuits, maybe some allegations that they haven't been completely honest on all of their deals that they have. Something going on here. Now, look, it took a dive a couple days ago because they just reported earnings and it was a top and bottom line miss, but still that EV to revenue ratio a lot lower, a lot lower than the other cannabis stocks. And the thing about AGFI is it's not just a cannabis stock, it's an agriculture stock. If you look at the description here, you can go and see, and ag is in its name, right? So this is both gets the sentiment of agriculture and cannabis. I don't have a position. I'll be watching this today. Maybe if I have a chance, or if you guys want to collaborate on that earnings report, you know, there's probably some people still salty or not happy with that earnings report. So that's why I didn't really take off as much as the other cannabis names. So, but it's something to possibly consider. Now, we got a couple new stocks since yesterday that we want to talk about. Julian had found we were looking for other ag stocks because we know ARTW took off. Yesterday was huge. Y10 was taking off. Y10, by the way, we noted it still has room to the 200 DMA at a little under $6, right? RKDA was taking off. All of them, all right? All of the small cap, micro cap ag stocks were taking off. So we're like, what hasn't moved yet? So Julian had found for us CYAN. So I actually got into a big position there of CYAN. It's a profitable micro cap, and no volume has come in. Now, the shape of the chart is up since the war, so people have been buying it, but very little volume. Technically, this is a little bit overbought, so it could pull back. Maybe this is not the best spot to get in, but on the other hand, traders have been finding these ag stocks very quickly, and no volume yet, right? So you can imagine if volume comes into this one, maybe it's going to break out over that high and you can have some fireworks. So I got in CYAN, low float, low PE. Maybe we'll hear more about it on Sunday night from Julian. So that's an interesting one. Now, another interesting one, which I put out this morning, SVFD. This was on Twitter. I was poking around asking the world for ag stocks that hasn't gone up yet. And this one really caught my eye. Because it has an EV of just 10 million. Now, let me see if I can share my other screen here so I could show this to you. Check this out. All right, we got a share screen. Okay, sorry about that. Share. All right, here we go. All right, so this is SVFD. You can look at the presentation. We'll drop it into the VIP room today. Key stats: 12 million market cap, 2 million afloat, 12 million raised, no debt. And if you look at this, it's about food preservation, which I think can be an interesting sentiment tailwinds. We're talking about food shortages, right? Now we're talking about mostly wheat and corn. This is about fruits and vegetables, it seems. But perhaps there's going to be greater investment in general as people worry about, and somehow, I'm sure, I don't know how the whole ecosystem works, but I'm sure somehow, or the supply chain works, that all food prices are probably going to go up, not just in transportation of food and energy causes it, but I don't think it's just going to be wheat and corn prices. But this could be something where they get increased business because they're trying to preserve food. Food is getting that much more valuable. So between the strong balance sheet, low floats, nice sector, I think this is one to consider. So that's SVFD. And let me go back to my iPhone screen. Okay, so that's SVFD. So today I'm really interested in CYAN and SVFD. Okay, in addition to closing out my Tilray trade at some point today or reducing it. Oh, I'm really interested in follow through on Kodak as well. So those are the things I'm most interested in today. Going back to our story trading stock, well, RW killing it. We left some on the table. By the way, in previous cycles, this went to like 10, 15. The earnings were impacted positively in prior cycles. The commentary in the prior quarter will indicates that they probably will have some good earnings growth here this year. So maybe this does end up being a great fundamental play and keeps on going up. So I don't know. You'll have to monitor that. Earnings are coming up. That could be another catalyst for the stock to keep running, but I'm currently out. I'm not going to chase it. If it comes back down, maybe I'll get back in. Back to our story trading stocks. CFVI, Air, SMSI, Drio. They're like, there's a big four that I know a lot of people are invested in. CFVI, they've been making a lot of noise on social media. There's a big Trump rally that's going to be exclusively on Rumble, I think, because one of the main channels, RSBN, that broadcasts these on YouTube was banned, at least temporarily. So it's only going to be on Rumble. That'll lead to maybe some record metrics that could be announced next week. That's CFVI. Air, I've given my opinion on this. Hey, if Tesla keeps running, it'll run. Simple as that. But I'm not in this big. I have a small call position. Okay, we have to see what happens. I like to see new orders or new customers, new industries with Air before I get super bullish on that. SMSI, T-Mobile launch. I don't know, today, tomorrow, imminently. Speculation about a Verizon launch. So we got that. All right. Let's see. Dario, we talked about yesterday. Let me see if there's anything else. We want, ANDE, we gave that to you yesterday from Matt, and it's taken off. That's a ag play, which with good fundamentals, undervalued, according to Matt. Hopefully, we'll hear more about this in the upcoming days. I added that to my IRA account. So that's all I got for you. Let me check the news, see if there's anything in the last 30 minutes or so that came in. INMB, one of our story trading stocks, spotlight key findings and presentation. So you can go ahead and look at that if you'd like this morning. And I think that's going to be it for this morning. But hang tight. Sometimes we find a gem. So hold on. Let's see if there's anything else we need to know about. Go to my Russia watch list and 8:30, scrolling back, check for news, check for catalysts, see if there's some sort of hidden gem we can make a lot of money on today. And no, I don't see anything. Okay. So basically, to sum it up, what's on the bottom of my list? Okay, a few new stocks, a GRWG. Look at that. That's interesting. Rewalk. Oh, low float EV. It's like a negative EV, but they had some news the other day worth looking into. Sets March 24th. Yeah. Some sort of news on March 24th, some Guinness World Record on climbing a skyscraper. Okay, I'm not in, but perhaps worth watching. And let's take one more look before we close it off today. I see NASDAQ and SPY pulling back a little bit, but not going to fight it. Not going to go short until support levels break. And gold still holding on to its 182. Wheat strong today. RKDA, Mosaic, agriculture stocks good. Natural resources, natural gas up. I know I'm repeating myself, but I'd like to double check all of this stuff right before the open to see if our thesis. Oh, don't forget a TWI. Let's add that. TWI, a big focus today. That was a big contract, ag sector, TWI, big focus. Remember that. TWI. Okay? Remember TWI. Remember SVFD. Remember CYAN. And Kodak and Tilray and KMI. Okay? That's it, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.